Good morning, students. On day 3, we'll get to know about a poem, The Ant and the Cricket, the first poem in your English literature book. But through this poem, I want to tell you about 3 things. First, what a poetry is. Second, what a fable is. And third, about the poem, The Ant and the Cricket, and what message it wants to convey to us. What is poetry? The word poetry originates from a Greek word meaning to make. A poet is thus a maker, and a poem something that is made or created. No single definition of poetry is possible, but some characteristics, features of poetry may be mentioned. Poetry has a musical quality with rhythm, pitch, and it may use figures of speech such as simile and metaphor. There are many: oxymoron, personification. While quite a few poems in this selection are in traditional forms, the unit also includes modern poems that are free from formal restrictions. Now, what is a fable? A fable is a story, often with animals as characters, that conveys a message, a moral. This poem about an ant and a cricket contains an idea of far-reaching significance, which is as true of a 4-legged cricket as of a 2-legged one. Surely you have seen a cricket that has 2 legs. Have you? Yes, we are talking about humans, and here comes the figure of speech metaphor. Now let's understand the poem. A silly young cricket, accustomed to sing through the warm sunny months of gay summer and spring, began to complain when he found that at home his cupboard was empty and winter was come. Not a crumb to be found on the snow-covered ground, not a flower could he see, not a leaf on a tree. This stanza explains us about the silly young cricket. He loves to sing in summer because he found that the weather is very nice and it's good that he enjoys his time rather than working somewhere hard. So when the winter came and he had no food, he was searching for it everywhere. He searched his cupboard, he searched the ground, but nothing could be found because the ground was covered in snow. There was no flower, there were no leaves. "Oh, what will become," says the cricket, "of me, at last, by starvation and famine made bold, all dripping with wet and all trembling with cold?" Away he set off to a miserly ant, to see if, to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. He wished only to borrow. So, when the cricket found that he had nothing to eat because he enjoyed whole summer, he thought of going to an ant. So, apparently, the ant was cricket's friend. And when cricket was singing, he was telling ant not to work because the atmosphere, the weather is very nice and they should enjoy. But the ant kept working. And now when the time has come, when the cricket was starving, he thought of going to that same miserly ant and ask if he could get shelter or food. He just wanted to borrow. He said that he can repay. He would repay it tomorrow. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. Says the ant to the cricket, "I'm your servant and friend, but we ants never borrow, we ants never lend." Here the cricket is saying that he can take whatever is possible and he'll be borrowing that and he'll return that tomorrow. So he said that if he won't get anything, he'll die of starvation and he'll die of sorrow and the guilt that he never worked in summer and now in winter he has no food. But you know what the ant replied? The ant said that "I am your servant, I am your friend, but there's a policy of ant. We never borrow and we never lend." So the ant strictly denied that they cannot give anything, as they have the policy of not borrowing anything and not lending anything. But tell me, dear cricket, did you lay nothing by when the weather was warm? Quoth the cricket. Not I. My heart was so light that I sang day and night, for all nature looked gay. Herein the ant is asking question to cricket that during the time of summer, didn't you manage anything for winter? Like, what were you doing? Why didn't you at least manage some food for winter so that you can survive? So the cricket replied with guilt and sorrow that he did nothing. He was just singing because he was very happy as the weather was very nice, and he never thought of managing food for himself for surviving through winter. You sang, sir, you say. Go then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket, and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. Folks call this a fable, I'll warrant it true. Some crickets have 4 legs and some have 2. So in return of cricket's answer, the ant replied in sarcasm. The ant replied in a taunting way that you are saying that you sang through the summer, so why didn't you dance the winter away? So in this poem, the poet wants to say that folks may have called it a fable, but I want to say that this fable is true, because some crickets have 4 legs, but some have 2. At the beginning of this lesson, I told you, metaphor. Cricket is compared to human. I have found that last year that many of the students were confused in this part. What is two-legged cricket? Let me make it very clear to you. This is a figure of speech in which the poet wants to compare the cricket with human. So the two-legged cricket is basically human. They are telling about human in form of metaphor. Now let's come to the conclusion. The message the poem wants to convey. The moral of the poem. And you can relate to it. The ant works all summer in stocking the anthill with food. The cricket is lazy and enjoys himself. The result? Winter comes and the ant has enough to eat. The cricket goes hungry on the other hand. So the moral says, if you want to succeed tomorrow, you'll have to start working today. Can you relate with it? Those who do not plan for the long term will not succeed in the long term. You wait for your exams to come and then you study and then write your paper. Don't you think if you will start studying from day one, if you will take effort and if you will mug up things and if you will practice from day one, on the day of exam, you will be much more relaxed. You won't have that kind of tension that you have on the day of your exam. So it's better that we work every day. That makes us divide our work and that makes it easy for us. The work doesn't get piled up and at the end we do not feel the pressure. So we should be ant in our real life, not the cricket. So students, I believe you understood the poem. Now there are few extract based questions which you'll have to do. And you'll have to be acquainted with it, because I have found while checking your exam papers that you don't know how to solve extract based questions. So it is high time that you know, because now you are in 8th standard and after 2 years you will be giving board exams. So I have given few extract based questions which you'll have to do as assignment.